Hello and welcome to this video series about emotions at work. I am Stephanie Mitrano-Meda from Innovation Copilots. And in this first video, I would like to take you through the mechanics of emotions. In order to help you gain a better understanding of your own internal emotional process. This is the first step to be more empowered by your emotions rather than overwhelmed by them. Let's start with Jenny. She will share her own emotional process and will decompose each element so you can see how it resonates with you. She is at the moment in a neutral state, meaning she's not in a particular mood. She's healthy, rested, nothing specific is bothering her. In reality, we're not very often in this state, but hey, for the purpose of this video, we will keep it simple. It all starts with an external event. Say, someone has criticized Jenny's presentation at work. In reality, we are constantly bombarded with different stimuli from the temperature in the room, from decisions being made in the organization, people on the road. This is life. That's what being alive means. Again, for the purpose of understanding and to keep it simple, let's focus on only one of the stimulus and not all of them at once. Let's say we focus on the colleague criticism that she received for a presentation. Here, note that I'm saying stimulus and not trigger at this stage, and you will see why very soon. What actually triggers the emotional process is how you internalize the stimulus. What it means to you rather than what it really is. This is why some people are emotionally impacted and others not, even when they are confronted by the same stimulus. But let's dig deeper and see what internalizing actually means. It first starts with your perception process. Your brain actually captures sensory data, whether it's shape, sound, color, smells, weight, feel, anything that your senses can perceive. Obviously here your level of sensitivity and hence the amount of data and the quality of the data that you are capturing, this will differ from one person to the next. Here also your level of attention will play a part in how much data you're capable to intake in that moment. Jenny has just finished her presentation. There wasn't not much noise in the room, so she could clearly hear the sounds coming out of her colleague's mouth and see the facial expressions that he showed. Then comes the interpretation process. Now, this process actually is when you find meaning in the data, the sensory data that you have just captured. Using your lifetime of experiences and your belief system as a reference database, your brain tries to find what is similar to that data. Think of it as your brain looking up a sound that you've perceived in your experience dictionary, finding the corresponding word and reading its definition. This is what interpretation is. It's attaching meaning to data you've captured. Here in our case, Jenny understands by the tone of the voice, the facial expressions of her colleague, and the sounds that are making words that she is actually receiving a critique about her work. Your system of reference is obviously influenced by all the experiences you've had in your life, your education, your culture, and your belief system. But once you have interpreted this is not enough. The next step is the evaluation process. Basically, what you're doing is that you're giving weight or quality to the meaning you've just interpreted. You judge it, you give it value in order to decide what is your next course of action. If the evaluation is neutral, then the event is just set aside as inconsequential and you just move on. However, if there is a judgment, whether it's good, bad, beautiful, ugly, interesting, not interesting, dangerous, safe, ethical, unethical, and insert here any binary qualitative evaluation you can think of, then you will trigger the next stage of the process in order to ready yourself for action, or let's say reaction. Depending on Jenny's value system and what is important to her at the moment, her evaluation of her colleague's critique might be, oh, it's a danger for my career. Or it might be, oh, this is so unfair. Or it might be, this is unimportant, this critique is not legitimate. So you see, depending on who she is, how she is at the moment, and her value system, the actual evaluation of this event, of the critique, might be very different. Your value system is influenced by your gender, your culture, when and where you were born, your culture, your religion, your education, and all the life experiences you've had so far. So what's important here to understand is that the trigger of your emotional process is in this evaluation. So your value system is what will make you emotional or trigger certain emotions or not. Now, these emotions that are being triggered are actually chemical alterations. So what's happening is that your brain, having this evaluation in mind, is triggering some chemical alteration to your body, a certain cocktail of hormones and other chemicals. It can be the form of your heartbeat starts changing, your breathing, your blood flow. I mean, all these chemicals have an impact on your body. And you see here that Jenny is getting all red because her physical body is being changed by the emotion that the brain has triggered. And these alterations to your physiology are really necessary if you want to be ready for action. Depending on the situation, different courses of action will require different chemicals, but we will see that in a different video. Most of the time, we are in automatic mode, which means that this actual alterations of your body will drive certain behaviors. Here, we see Jenny getting angry, and this is a usual response when she thinks something is unfair, and she gets angry, and you can see her body and facial expression changing. So her behavior, what she says, how she says is will be changed by the emotion she's feeling. This happens because there's a flow of chemicals, and they might be overwhelming with their intensity, and they are driving her behavior. Now, this behavior might be more or less efficient, let's say intelligent in her context. Let's say that being paralyzed with fear in front of a bear might be saving your life. But if you're paralyzed with fear in a public speaking performance, then it will be counterproductive. Same again, if you're shouting to alert of a danger that might protect your tribe or your group or your community, well, shouting at the meeting, like Jenny is doing right now, may destroy her relationships and other career prospects. So her response, like shouting, like, you are so unfair, this is not true, you did not understand, might be probably not very good for her and a relationship at work. Now, in summary, it all starts also, we think, with that stimulus, this life event. But actually, we know now that what triggers an emotion is actually how you internalize this event. And basically what happens is that life confront your values. And it is your values which will trigger your emotions, emotions being an alteration of your physical state. With this emotion, it will drive your behavior. But it doesn't stop here. I mean, this is full cycle from the event to the expression of the emotion, but then it continues actually, because your behaviors will impact how you feel and how you see yourself. You might remember instances when you reacted in a certain way and didn't feel so good about it. Like Jenny might not have a good image of herself and later on think, oh no, I shouldn't have shouted, I shouldn't have said this, and then start feeling bad. So her own reaction, her behavior becomes a new stimulus for her emotional life and then might trigger a whole new emotions about how she reacted to that situation. And it's not all, because how you behave will also impact your relationships, because these people who might be attending the meeting will observe your behavior, and this behavior will become their stimulus for potential emotions. And again, on and on it goes, and each being the stimulus of other people and of themselves. So you can probably remember a situation where emotional was going crazy from one person to another and feeding off each other and going in this very, very vicious circle. Now, I trust that this short video is giving you some food for thoughts. I encourage you to revisit some emotional events that you've had at work in light of the emotions mechanics, and reflect about your own patterns, beliefs, and values, as you know they are key to your emotional life. Now, you can stay tuned for further videos in this Emotions at Work series. I will later on talk about the purpose of emotions, emotions and gender, as well as sharing some tips to channel your emotions safely. Thank you very much for listening, and till next time.